Hello everybody. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you on this beautiful Wednesday. Today we're going to be talking about revenge. And if there's one place I seek revenge the most, it is in the car. And so I'm going to have you with me today. One, to make sure I don't show revenge, but also just to remind me that I need to mark this spot. I need to have better thoughts before I get in the car every day. So that I do what God calls me to do. So thanks for joining me on my commute. Let's start by looking at the passage for today's thought, Matthew 5, starting in verse 38. You have heard it said, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, do not resist evil. Anyone who slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. But if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, give them your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Give to anyone who asks, and do not turn away from those that want to borrow from you. You know, revenge ultimately means just wanting to make something right, bringing others to justice. And in the Old Testament, God actually limited retribution in an attempt to end the cycle of violence. I mean, eye for an eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot, and even some really weird ones can be found in Exodus. I think it's chapter 21. And why did God do that? Well, to limit the cycle of violence. I mean, think about it. If somebody hurt my eye, I do not have the ability to blind them or cripple them or even kill them. I mean, let's say I did. Let's say I killed the other person who hurt me. Well, then their brother wants to kill me. And then my brother wants to kill them. And then the cycle of violence just perpetuates itself. So by outlining this, design for retribution, God tried to limit or end the cycle of violence. But like, most of the law, man manipulated it and the cycle of violence continues. That is, until Jesus came. Because ultimately, Christ tells his disciples that we give up our right to revenge. We're going to actually give up the God-given right of retribution found in the law. And like most elements of discipleship, this requires faith. Faith that God will handle these situations just like he said he would. We need to surrender justice, fairness, personal rights to God, and trust that he'll defend us and that he'll ultimately redeem us. We need to trust him to be the judge. And a lot of times that's difficult and requires a tremendous amount of faith. So why? Why would Christ take away our ability for revenge, or maybe more appropriately, retribution? Well, it's because he once and for all wants to end the cycle of violence. If we patiently endure suffering just as he did, there is no cycle. The cycle's destroyed. Ultimately, he was able to see past the pain. I mean, that's how he was able to do it. He was able to see past the pain to what would be redemption with God. His whole life was dedicated to redemption, not revenge. And this actually shows us how Jesus handled revenge. Imagine if our focus for people was the same as Christ. We were more concerned about their redemption than our own revenge. Really, Brad? So what you're telling me is I ought to just sit back and endure suffering from people that are sinning against me, or even worse, my family? I mean, that violates every bone in my body. Where's the justice and fairness in that? And ultimately, I would agree with you. There really is no justice or fairness in that. Just like there's no justice and fairness in our salvation. I mean, because God is just, because he's holy, we deserve hell. But because Christ surrendered his fairness, we get to experience salvation. So what do? How do we respond to this message, this very challenging message? Well, we start by releasing our desire to revenge. I mean, we probably all have a mental list of people that right now, if they crossed our paths, we might have a hard time not seeking that revenge. Or if given the chance, we would probably take it. We need to erase that list. We need to ball it up and throw it away into the mental garbage can. But that's impossible, Brad. You don't know what these people have done to me. And I'll say, well, I think Christ showed us it's possible. Because he vanquished evil. He destroyed evil by patiently enduring it on the cross. That's just it. Evil dies when it's not met with resistance. So Christ calls us to resist evil, to end the cycle of violence, so that the world can experience his love and joy. Christ doesn't want us to waste our time on acts of revenge. He would much rather us focus on expanding his kingdom and developing a better relationship with him. It's a good challenge for me. I think it's a good challenge for all of us to be better disciples and to release our desire to revenge. Have an awesome day. Thanks for joining me on my commute. We will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.